Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Welcome to the office hours, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move to the office, shall we? Hello and welcome to the Astropub, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Berserker01 Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the Astropub, your host on Galactic Historian, and just, you know, regular old dude in general. Logar, Alex, that's beers out there for everybody. Duppin, Mr. Squarepeg, welcome to all of you guys who are watching. How you doing? How's it going? Viper, how's it going? Hey, Don Steeler. The big moose himself. I'm a moose now? Ghost of Xbox Pass, how's it going? Welcome, everybody. So, for you've never seen an Office Hours before, this is a live stream, live broadcast where we talk about lore and the game, Star Citizen, and things like that. So, it's an AMA format, so you can ask questions or answer. I give you answers, those sorts of things. So, welcome to join us. Let's get started with the first part. The part that you probably saw on the thumbnail. The Ninetails. Now, there is a rumor going around that the Ninetails are supposed to be... The Ninetails lockdown is supposed to start... thank you for them biddies, by the way, MST. You prefer Twitch or YouTube? Either one. The reason why I do broadcast both this on Twitch and YouTube for this is because... For those of you who are watching on YouTube, hello, I have a Twitch. Please go to the Twitch as well when we're not doing YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, on Twitch, hi, I also stream or not stream, but I mostly do videos on YouTube. So please watch us on YouTube. Both things work. It's kind of a cross contamination. So either way is fine. Both of them are fine. Both. The answer is watch me on both. So yeah, the Ninetails. So there's a rumor that I saw on the Leaks Discord that said that that the Ninetails lockdown is going to happen at Invictus. I am doubt, because I'm fairly certain that if they're going to do the Ninetails lockdown, then it will involve Orison. I know I pitched that idea that it was going to be ArcCorp. I didn't really think it was ArcCorp. I was just using it as an example, just because, you know, it makes sense lore-wise. But there are other lore, as I said in that video, there are plenty of other reasons. Like, they don't like Crusader because they're Crusader. Like, they're their neighbors, and they don't like them. And they don't like Hurston because... Fuck Hurstons. Like there's just no... The Ninetails don't like anybody. The only thing that they may not attack is Microtech, and the only reason why they may not attack Microtech is because A, it's far away, and B, it's like there's nothing really valuable. So you asked for it. I think what we'll probably see with the lockdown is that it'll likely happen. If it does happen starting this patch, it will be a rolling thing, kind of like how they did the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. We would see phase 1. This with Invictus, but it probably will go longer. I hope that they've learned their lesson from that. But I'm actually more keen on thinking that it's going to happen 3.14 and 3.14.1. So, morning to you, Target Drone. Thank you for them biddies there, Dracom. But we also talked about servers grinding to an absolute halt with everything going on at the same time. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I don't think it would happen, because it's too much of a narrative for them to want to try to do it during a free flight and during a Invictus launch week and everything else. I could see them doing a phase 1, something similar to how they did the announcement of Xenothreat's announcement as this phase 1. I could see an announcement at the end of Invictus of Ninetails just being like, fuck all y'all, we out, you know? Yeah, so 3.14 is going to be a major update as well. It's important to remember that 3.14 is coming out, Crusader's coming out, and the landing zone Orison is coming out. So 2 major updates there. It's also introducing the missile operator mode and the new missiles, as well as introducing, what is the other things they're introducing? Medical gameplay, NPC medical gameplay, and medical gameplay where you can stab somebody or heal them, somebody else, with the heal beams, the magic heal beams. Beam Citizen, love it. I love it. Taurus is coming up, coming out as well. Yes. Also, the first version of inventory is coming out. The first version of personal inventory is coming out. No, capacitors are not coming out there. I think there was some confusion that I had even with capacitors, because in their tweet and in the latest update, they implied that 3.14 was going to come out with capacitors, but it doesn't look like it. So, before we get into the details of what the lockdown might be, let's learn a little bit about the Ninetails to help us out a little bit more. So first of all, the Ninetails are a pirate organization. Now, there's a difference between pirate organizations and syndicates in Star Citizen. Syndicates are like mafia. Pirate organizations or gangs are more like they range from being like similar, like gangs, like street gangs you'd see today or in the past, to being sort of like rebel organizations. Most people who join gangs because they need to either A, feed themselves, or B, they don't like society. Usually both of those in some way, shape, or form. Here's a famous quote from the Ninetails. Let me read it out for you so we can understand a little bit more about the mentality of the Ninetails going forward. Because, again, if you want to understand what the game's going to do, understanding the lore is a big part of it. So this is a quote from a current Ninetails. My cousin was the one who brought me in on the job, and even with her vouching for me, none of the Ninetails would say more than 2 words to me. If that cold reception was enough to make me nervous, I hadn't even been that sure about the whole thing in the first place. My life was plenty crap without needing to spend the next few years in Quarterdeck, which is the maximum security lockdown prison of the UEE. But at the end of the day, creds are creds, right? The way that my cousin explained it, those security fods only had a job because of people trying to steal stuff. So we were helping them and their families as much as ourselves. I'm not sure I believe it, but it helped me climb into that turret. She flew, I fired. Together we took out 3 ships. Even got a bonus share of it for it, and a nickname too. That was 3 years ago, and I'm still flying with the 9s. They can be pretty fun once you get to know them. So yeah, I guess I'm an outlaw now. But if anyone asks, I tell them I work in security recruitment. That's Tan Jitters Lowen of the Falling Leaf, which is the ship that she's part of, her and her cousin. She's a Ninetails gunner. So that's kind of gives you the idea of the Ninetails. The Ninetails are a tight group of individuals who do not open up to the outsiders very well. But once you start working for them, once you gain a little bit of a reputation with them, they let you in a little bit more. So that's an important thing to take into account when you're dealing with talking about Ninetails. Redeemer for 3.14, yeah. Anywhere on the whole series? Not yet. Do they wear fox costumes? Well, we don't actually know what the reason why they call themselves Ninetails is. My theory is that the most popular theory that I have is just that it's kitsunes or the whatever trickster fox spirits. Nine-tailed fox spirits are pretty common in Korean, Japanese, and Chinese mythology. So it might even be a Naruto reference. I don't know. But it's also a reference. You could also be a reference to the Cat of Nine Tails, which is a type of punishment whip that was used in the UEE or in the UEE Navy, in the Royal Navy. They're just called Nine Tails, so that's all. It's also a Pokemon, yes. I can only imagine what quarterdeck prison gameplay would be like. Rough. You can escape from quarterdeck. People have escaped from quarterdeck, but it's kind of like Aberdeen, only with people. Because Aberdeen eventually, Kleischer is eventually going to have no guards there. It's just going to have remote turrets when those are activated. That's the whole purpose. It's a completely remote prison. So. Do you mean the brig? No. Quarterdeck is the name of a prison. It's a name of a prison. It's a military federal prison, military/federal prison. That's just a planet. It's a prison planet that the UEE runs. It's actually in a protected system. It's in the same system as the Osonians, I think, if I remember correctly. It's in that same system. So we know that they're, based off that quote, they're pretty tight. They keep themselves to the chest. They don't let in outsiders. But once you gain enough reputation, they let you in on everything. And all it takes is time and effort with them. So that's important to understand. They're different from. They're not the same as. They're not the same as the Xenothreat folks, who are very much don't want to let anybody in. So we already know that you're going to be able to pick sides with this one. They've kind of heavily hinted that, but based on the fact that you can currently do missions for the Ninetails, that should give you an idea. Now, the Ninetails themselves are also a gang. They control Grimhex, but they are not the necessarily the rulers of Grimhex. They don't like. Grimhex is a free port, essentially. There's no real ruler as far as we can tell. But there are Ninetails presence. They kind of act as security and as the police force, because they also get the advantage of using the port as cover, because the port is civilian with outlaw presence. So if Crusader tried to attack, they would meet stiff resistance. And if they just tried to like railgun the rock from far away, they'd kill a bunch of civilians. And this is Crusader we're talking about, not Hurston. They're not very much into war crimes. Whereas Hurston, that's just, business. So we know that they operate out of Grimhex. We know that they're a pretty tight-knit group, but they let others in pretty easily. So we can surmise that likely, and that they're an outlaw gang, not a syndicate. So they are a group of people who generally are misfits or outsiders, people who do not want to be part of the UEE. So we can surmise that they're not a political group like Xenothreat. So they don't have some sort of big grand political stance. So the reason why they're doing a lockdown has to be for some outside reason. Maybe Xenothreat paid them. Maybe some other group paid them to do this. Maybe they're just doing it because there's some sort of financial incentive for them to do so. To operate at this large scale and this loud is very dangerous for a group like Ninetails, though. They still, yes, Security Port Korea is mostly controlled by the Ninetails, though it has been controlled by the Dusters in the past and controlled by the Nova Riders. So it fluctuates between who has it. So with that being said, who are the Ninetails? An outlaw group who control Grimhex. They're not politically motivated. So whatever the reason for this lockdown has to be, it has to be financial or somehow like benefiting them in some way. Now, let's look at the other thing. They're allies. Grimhex's allies are people like Rudo and Wallace Klim, Michael Shaw, and Eddie Parr. So they're into racketeering, they're into smuggling, and they're into assassinations. So something about this has to click. The likely target of their lockdown will be Crusader's port of Paralsar or of Orison itself. The reason why is you guys. You're to blame. The Jumptown Wars are to blame. The Jumptown Wars outcome was pretty severe. it introduced the CDF to Stanton, and it also increased security patrols of Crusader security. Thus, their operational distance, their operational range has become very loud. So the areas that they're already living in is now become a terrible place for them to do business in. So why would they attack Orison? Well, it would shut up Crusader security pretty quickly. And to control Orison, or to have that kind of area locked down, they can control the flow of products between those areas. As well, Orison is located right between the two major ports. You have right between, in the cross section between the two major areas of Stanton, the inner Stanton and outer Stanton, which is orbited by the air and halo. So it's a good location to lock down if you want to control all of the products flowing from the outside the system in. It would take a lot of time and effort to launch a large fleet into that region. Hey, Max. Does Ninetails have a presence outside of Stanton, or is it a localized system? We don't know if it has. There is no references to Ninetails outside of the system, so they have to be. So likely they are local. And if they are local, then the fact that Hurston is becoming even more dangerous for them is probably going to mean that even worse situation for them, because Stanton is becoming more dangerous for them. They're probably putting their backs to the corner. This is not something they would do lightly. Do we need an operator mode for the bar? Yeah. Toilet? Yes. Or bartender? Yeah. And Merrick. With Reputation, and I hope they flesh out different gangs and have missions for them. Eventually, they should be able groups PvP players want to join with. Yes, exactly. Are there independent factions that are not outlaw pirates that don't have alliances in different that don't have alliances to the different planets? I mean, there are independent planets all over the universe. In Stanton, not really. The only group that's not really allied with any lawful or unlawful groups would be Malo Ex Bonum. They're kind of a rebel group that's trying to kick out the Hursons from Hurston. Don't the Ninetails work for Hurston? I mean, deliver their employees? Sometimes. They seem to have some relationship with Hurston, but at the same time, they're also not exactly friends with Hurston because they stick around and attack the convoys that leave. So, Danger Hobo, thanks for that 2 months. The escape pods land movements afloat in space. Thank you, Danger Hobo. Launch drinks. So, here's what you need to know about the Ninetails. I meant as a pub. Oh, do you think escape pods will land on planets and moons or float in space? I think both. Depends on when you launch them. They'll float in space and request assistance, but it depends on. I'm guessing there's going to be different types of pods. I imagine there's going to be smart pods, like the lifeboats that you see on the 890 Jump. Probably are mini ships, but the life pods you see on the side of a Carrack or a Hercules are just going to be those escape pods are just going to be escape pods. They're going to be dumb escape pods. It's just you get out and you have a bubble of air to protect you, sort of thing. All right. So what do you need to know about Ninetails? Well, because their reputation is that of a pirate, and they're not a syndicate. I also forgot to mention they're in basically active war with TC Pachenko, which means they're in active war with one of the largest syndicates in the UEE, the Otoni Syndicate. So, if you're going to go into the Ninetails lockdown and you're going to be fighting for the Ninetails, you will piss off everyone. Everyone. No one will like you, ever. If you want to live out of Grimhex, then fight for the Ninetails. I might actually fight for the Ninetails anyways, but they are allies with the people I smuggle with. So, but that's the important part to understand about the Ninetails. The Ninetails lockdown and the Ninetails thing is going to be a reputation event. It's going to take all of the aspects that have been building in Star Citizen in the last year or two, plus reputation and put that into a big event that everyone's going to want to participate in. What's the strongest planet or faction in which planet or faction is strongest in Stanton? I mean, the UAE is probably, because they're pretty strong, but they're also there's limited in numbers. You know, they have access to the Warhammer, which I'm assuming is just a local javelin that will stays at Jericho or patrols the area, and maybe a handful of Idrises, which is pretty big. But you know, there's a gang that stole Idrises. Not the Winchester gang. I can't remember the name of them. But yeah, there's that whole quest line where you have to beat the that gang. Arlington gang. Thank you. The Arlington gang. So likely the strongest faction that's not the UEE would probably be Crusader. Because Crusader is a huge organization that has its own security force. They'd probably be tied with Hurston in terms of security, but Hurston doesn't make ships, and Crusader does. So they probably have more force projection if they really wanted to, whereas Hurston has to rely on mercenaries to do force projection for them. Hey, where's the lie? Crusader doesn't like to do war crimes, but Hurston does. For Hurston, it's just business. It's a Tuesday. It's that quote from Street Fighter. So that's what's important to remember about the Ninetails. That if you're going to be joining up with the Ninetails, you know that they are a gang, that they have bad reputation through the entire system, but they do have allies. So if you want to be a smuggler, you might participate with the Ninetails lockdown simply because it will boost your reputation with Wallace, Klim, and Shaw, which will boost your ability to get better payouts for their smuggling missions. Of course, you're going to be a little bit more visible, which may be a little bit more difficult to do smuggling, but there's that. Also, Rudo. If you like the assassination missions that Rudo gives out, you will also boost your reputation with Rudo a little bit. Possibly even, I forget the new guy, the new one who's doing assassination missions out of Stanton as well. He's also probably going to work with them. You may boost your reputation with some of the other outlaw factions, but you will tank your reputation with the Ottoni Syndicate, with Crusader, with Hurston, with ArcCorp, and Microtech, and the UEE, which may limit your ability to travel. You could go to Pyro, for instance, but just because you have good reputation with the Ninetails doesn't mean you have good reputation with Xenothreat, who run Pyro, or any of the other gangs that run Pyro. In fact, it's probably bad if you want to deal with the what are they called? Let me look them up real quickly. They don't have this yet. I'm forgetting the name of the group, but there's that vigilante group that runs in Pyro, for instance. Why did the cops eradicate Flubs? Yeah, it's the same question. Why doesn't Stanton just eradicate Ninetails forever? Why don't they do that? Because the Ninetails aren't really a centralized group. They're a group of small groups, and they could attack Grimhex, their headquarters. But it would be like dropping cluster bombs on a neighborhood so you could get a couple of gang members. I mean, you could kill the leader of a gang by launching a cruise missile into a hospital that's filled with people. That's the equivalent. Grimhex is not an outlaw station. It is a free station. There are civilians that live there who just don't want to be part of the UEE. So nobody wants to take that responsibility. The UEE doesn't want that bad press. Crusader certainly doesn't like that bad press. And Hurston has no financial interest in doing so. So the Overlords. Thank you, Shady. Brain doesn't always work sometimes. So the Overlords, for instance, would not be friendly with you in Pyro if you have a high reputation with the Ninetails. So that's what you need to know about the Ninetails. However, if you want to work with the Otoni Syndicate or literally any other group in Stanton, oppose the lockdown. Try to stop the Ninetails. So essentially, you have easy mode, which is everybody else, and then you have insane mode, which is backing the Ninetails. I know every PvP player is probably going to back the Ninetails, but it's not a simple cut and dry thing. Because the Ninetails are the most dominant gang doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best gang, because you're also not going to boost your reputation with the Otoni Syndicate, which may give you better or more missions in the future. So, and besides, the Otoni Syndicate is a large ranging organization that exists far beyond Stanton, whereas the Ninetails may not. So it really depends. Remember, your decisions will affect your reputation, and your reputation determines what kind of missions you can get and where you can go. What do you think we will be doing in game to help either side? I mean, I don't know. I think logically what the Ninetails would be doing is go to this area and kill this convoy, attack this convoy, this NPC convoy. And players will either be escorting that convoy or going off to stop the Ninetails as they were attacking convoy. Similar to what we did to in Xenothreat, where you had to gather resources to bring them back. I'd imagine that there would be some sort of maybe rally point that they would be using. I mean, I know if I was to be designing this, what I would do is I would set up a rally point for either side, and that rally point is protected heavily by NPCs. But the goal is you will be getting missions to go out and do these various things, and those missions will pay a lot of money. So you go out and do those missions, and then you come back, and eventually, depending on which side is more victorious, every so often it'll update so that you have less missions from one side or more missions for the other, and eventually one side will push towards the rally point and crush the essentially forward operating base of the other side so that they can claim victory. How can I make money playing both sides? Don't play. That's how you do that. You have to pick a side. Do you think it'll be a PvP at heart? No, it's going to be a PvE VP mission. Or, yeah, PvE VP. Where you will have PvE sections where you're attacking PvE outlaws, but they could also be PvP. They could also be some PvP section. It's going to be PvE VP. So because of the server size, you have a large chance that you're probably just going to be facing other NPCs, but there is still a chance that you can fight the other players. PvP. Yeah. Hey there, Jaybird. We will try to do the mission. Darklaw kills us all. There will be missions. That's the thing. It's like, if depending on which side you go with, you may not face other players. And if you don't face other players, you will have to still do the PvE section of that. So, what sort of tricks do you think Ninetails have up their sleeve? Can we expect anything like Xenothreat's Idris's? No, but I think you should probably expect waves. Lots and lots of waves of enemies. Caterpillars will probably be their biggest, tankiest boats. Maybe Hercules's. Yeah, there's probably not going to be an Idris battle. They do not have access to Idris's, though they could steal them, because the Arlingtons were able to steal them, so they could have Idris's. Hammerheads? Oh, well, most certainly Hammerheads. We've seen the Ninetails owning Hammerheads. So I think in lieu of Idris's, you'd probably see waves of Hammerheads. You could definitely have outlaws versus outlaws. There are definitely there's definitely some case for the Otoni Syndicate, run by Ticia Pacheco, to be giving you missions against the Ninetails. I expect PvE goals that differ from each faction you aligned with, which will make some missions PvEP and some missions PvE at the same time. Yeah, it'll like That's essentially what we used to call the counter missions. There used to be counter missions all the time in Star Citizen. Like, for instance, if you went to Security Point Korea and you tried to try to hack your crime stat down, a mission would spawn for another player to come in and stop the hack. So they didn't have to kill you, they just had to stop the hack. So you go in there blazing to try to stop the hack, because obviously they're going to try to stop you from hacking, stopping you from preventing the hack, because they want to lower your crime stat. So these counter missions, in fact, even the first TCU Pacheco mission, the one where you had to go to the to clear out that bunker and grab drugs, there was actually a counter mission that spawned for you to show up while that was happening and burn the drugs, destroy the drugs. So if you're too slow getting the drugs out. What advancement in the different factions game look like? It'll look like better reputation. So you'll get, in some cases, just access to more things or locations, or access to bigger payouts from missions. So a mission, like currently, the way that it works is if you have a high reputation with the Bounty Guild, or with, say, Crusader Security, and you take a mission that's supposed to pay out 5,000 UEC, you actually get like 5, 10, 20% extra credits by taking that mission. So the higher payout missions with higher reputation means that you're getting a lot more UEC than you would be normally doing that mission, which means you could even share that mission with other people and you would still get the higher payouts because you're the one who accepted it and you have the higher bonuses. So, and in the future, it'll be things like access to specific shipyards or ships or locations or special equipment or skins or clothing or armor, those things which will be locked down based off of where you can go. And Clovis has a counter mission that was also quite brutal. Yeah, Clovis also does it. So counter missions have always been a thing in Star Citizen's design, and I expect them to continue on there. So when is the Ninetails lockdown? Do I know? So there's a rumor floating around that it's going to be coming out during Invictus, and I say that it's the leaks guys who have said it. I don't think so. We might see, the most we might see is Wave 1, or like Chapter 1 or whatever. The first segment of that might happen towards the end of Invictus, meaning similar to how we had the announcement for Xenothreat at the end of IAE. And but I think the actual events are going to be a little bit longer, and they'll probably start in 3.14. Can we see some Giver mission changing of factions? Sort of. Does rep fade over time? Yes. It's actually quite brutal right now. If you don't do missions for them, it'll tick down pretty quickly. So you have to constantly be playing and constantly be doing missions for that faction. Otherwise, you will lose it pretty quickly. There's definitely going to be a PTU for the lockdown. Do you reckon there will be any ships coming for 3.14 other than the Taurus? Yes, definitely. They'll do. I wouldn't expect new ships though. I would expect, Rock DS, Cyclone TR levels of ships. So like a variant of the Mustang, or a variant of the Hammerhead or something like that. You think we'll see a bunch of Ninetails gearing up at DefenseCon? I think that the Ninetails might show up at DefenseCon or hack the feeds at DefenseCon and announce their intentions. Probably make an ultimatum saying, pay us this amount of money by this time or we're coming for you. And that's it. Something like that. Yeah, the off levels don't, but the payouts do. They'll have skins, I'm sure. Ninetails skins, crew skins, yes. Now, it's likely that you'll also be fighting with the CDF again if you're countering the Ninetails. So I would expect more CDF skins or CDF other things like that. So. If CIG is smart, they would let free flyers play during the first day or two of the lockdown, and then see what happens the next. They get they'll get a starter package. I mean, that the problem of that is stability. That would be the biggest issue is stability, because with the stuff flying around, you don't want them to just kind of crash at the last day. Though, I mean, one of the suggestions I made specifically, I made a video about this where I kind of gave suggestions for CIG about what I'd do differently, and that was to start off with small scale engagements. This station is under attack. CDF calls for help. You go there, help them out, kill the bad guys, and move on. At kind of these small scale skirmishes, the advanced recon forces, those sorts of things, where you can see it growing over time, which makes it a lot more of a natural progression. You allow for people to get like 2 or 3 days or weeks, 2 or 3 weeks of that kind of content, and then it skips to the next stage, and then that goes for 2 to 3 weeks, and then skips to the next stage. So you have an event that takes place over 3 months rather than an event that takes over 2 days. That allows for more players to play it. It gives a natural progression for it, but I don't know if we'll see that or not. Evening, my friend. Much love from Nova Intergalactic. I know you have a lot of opinions about Theaters of War. What ideas would you throw to make the game mode, make it more appealing and all? Do you think enough to keep PvP crowd busy? Much love, brother. Hey, Lucius. So for Theaters of War, at this point, I would scrap it. Not necessarily like throw it in the bin, but like table it. Focus on the verse and use Theaters of War as a backdrop to build a brand new game mode that would include FPS, aerial combat, or space combat, and then combined arms combat. And use that as the basis for a new Arena Commander, Theaters of War, Star Marine, kind of a new kind of collection package of all those together. And then use that as a training simulator. So give players more tools to be able to edit these simulations. Essentially, what I'm saying is make an Arma, a light version of Arma, a Star Citizen light version of Arma, and make most of the matches free to play, because that is itself a moneymaker and an advertisement. To get people to play the game who are already kind of iffy on the game, you give them this thing. You say, hey, you can try this, but in a big universe where it's a little bit more complicated and stuff like that. But what I just said shouldn't be done before Star Citizen reaches beta. So I would honestly take what they've learned, continue to use the system they have to help scale up and fix some of the issues, but don't give it to us. And then use that system to build Theaters of War style content into events, because that will get them A, more information than they need, B, more people interested, and C, stress test the fuck out of the servers. So thank you so much, Badger Boy. Anvil Aerospace, all systems online. Thank you for that prime sub for 3 months. If the reputation level ticks down very quickly, if you leave them alone, how quickly would a negative reputation kick back up to neutral? About the same. I think negative, like right now, of course they're going to adjust these rates, so they'll figure it out. But I think right now they're at the same levels. But I'm assuming that negative reputation will tick back up to 0 faster than positive reputation. And you also got to remember there's going to be reputation bleed over. Right now, doing missions for the bounty hunting missions will give you reputation with the Bounty Hunters Guild and whatever company you're working for. So Crusader Securities or Herson Security. So it actually ticks for both of them. So that will also happen. If you're doing missions that happen to be allied with, those groups happen to be allied with another group, then that other group will get a small amount of reputation as well. Bartender Simulator for practice to make drinks, exactly. Thoughts on FPS combat in Port Olisar for the lockdown? I'd love to see it. I'd also love to see a ground-based operation. This is my ideal situation for the Grim Hex, for the lockdown, for the Ninetails lockdown. The current landing zone that they've just built at the Javelin is the headquarters, the forward operating base headquarters for the Ninetails. Port Olisar is the rally point for the Crusader Security and for CDF. And various missions will have you go out and attack or defend various locations, take over Security Point Korea, take over Grimhex, or something like that. Like go to these monitoring stations, whatever. Go to this outpost, take that. And slowly but surely, either you're going to take over Port Olisar as the Ninetails, or you're going to take that landing zone as CDF. So you either have aerial FPS combat going on in like room combat going on at Port Olisar, or you have ground-based combat with tanks and rolling through the deserts of Daymar trying to get to the Javelin and clear it out. Those would be cool as fuck. So, how much more server stress tests do you think that they need above the failure they have now? They always need more, because the thing is that it's not like the servers are just like static. It's not like they just put the servers out and they haven't changed the code. They're constantly changing the code, so they always need to test it overall to the point where it's no longer failing. Do you think CIG will finish True Bartenders one day? Yeah, they will. The servers are stressed enough that they need to roll out new tech before they stress them more. Exactly, Trouble Magnet. The point I was making about putting that stuff into events is not now. It's not like they're just going to magic wand wave of their hands and fix that. That would be something they would do down the line, end of this year, into next year. But Theaters of War is also not coming out until next year at the earliest. So it feels like, to me, a waste of money, a waste of time, a waste of resources, unless they're actively using it for balance purposes, which they seems like they are. But trying to do things like cinematics and other things, maybe if you have new cinematics people that need to get their teeth in, using the tools and stuff, yeah, it makes sense. It's a cool, project. But otherwise, it's just a waste of resources and time. Better to use to other things. I was going to say to make Theaters of War free to play, so they can always try out all the mechanics. Well, combat anyway, yeah. I want to know if we'll have improved weapons eventually. If I'm at a bar, can I stuff a rag in a bottle and make a Molotov, or pick it up in a chair and bash it over someone's head? Improvised weapons, you mean? Oh yeah, probably. I mean, it really depends on the tools that CIG has. I'm sure that what it sounds like is making objects carryable and using them as weapons, maybe. And the other side sounds like crafting, which I think we'll have at eventually point. They've said the ship commercials and other cinematics have been partially training new people. That's true. Yes. But my point being, these are things to happen down the line, because you're going to want to have those big combined arms action happens eventually in the game. And it's better to have those as part of events, so you can get A, people interested in going in there, and B, more people to test it. Because not everyone's necessarily interested in Theaters of War, but if you make it as part of an event that you can make a lot of money, or it's an interesting story, then yeah, they might do that. Would you sacrifice being granular and detailed in features in the game versus getting stuff finished and or deployed? Depends. The problem I think that a lot of people have is they assume that CIG isn't trying to get things deployed. CIG is, as far as I can tell, trying to get stuff deployed. It's not like they're just sitting there going, well, we need to make sure that you have hand animations that can, wipe your butt with one little piece of poop. Like, that doesn't exist. That's not what CIG is doing. The people who are working on the hand animations for the butt wiping animations for pooping are not the same people who are making the game function. And we can see this with the Planetary Tech team. The Planet Tech team is way ahead of everybody else because they've had a lot more time to deal with the problems. The thing is that when Planetary Tech came in, pretty much everything that was made before Planetary Tech had to be thrown away. The skills and the tools that they used at that point weren't thrown away, but all of the assets were. So they had to go back, build new tools all around Planetary Tech, which delayed the game. However, because Planetary Tech became one of the foundational techs, if not the foundational tech of the game, they're way ahead of everybody else. They got finished with their last major update like 2 years ago. So as a result, they're way ahead and further away. But you've got the people like the server meshing team, which requires the iCache team, which required object container streaming and server-side server and client-side object container streaming, which required 64-bit floating precision and going back and back and back and back and back. Those are techs that need to be kind of built on top of one another. Planetary tech is way ahead. Ship tech is very fast. They can build ships pretty quickly. They can fit them out because they understand these things. So it's the question itself is actually a little misleading. You can't really say, oh, well, they're working on granular things, because they're not. It's just the foundation tech that they're trying to work on needs to get done. And there's no point in working on improving the current gameplay and performance if you're just going to throw away all of that work in a couple of months anyways when you introduce iCache or server meshing. Because a lot of that stuff that's currently being used, that needs to get fixed, is old systems, legacy systems that need to get replaced. So, capacitors, better or worse than butt wiping? Better, because I hate the idea of pooping in Star Citizen. Danger Hobo asks, thinks that auto gimbaling size 4s in the Hager turrets could make it viable. Yeah, I think so. Making turrets auto turrets, basically making them cheap, would make turrets much more viable. The problem is that CIG has pretty much fucked themselves because they want to do this World War II style turret technology, which was outdated by the end of World War II. I think it was the B-29 Super Fortress. They had remote turrets in 1944, 1945. Remote turrets. There's a reason why there are remote turrets now, mostly in. Are there any questions to ask, or just recently? You can ask any questions, Heart Heroes. We just kind of been going over some of this stuff, right? Artists and lore will tend to go way ahead of the program itself. It's why they sell concept ships. Art's comparatively quick. Yeah. Do you think they will be next to fight tanks? Yes. They're called the Titan suits. Titan suits are like 9 feet tall, 10 feet tall, kind of powered armor. Think a cross between a mech and power armor from like Warhammer 40K or Fallout, that kind of thing. We need to move more towards an Expanse-style gimbaled gun mount setup. Basically, yeah. So because CIG can't go back towards that they can still continue to use that going forward, which you can see that with almost all of the ships moving forward, they've used remote turrets rather than being turret gameplay. The Perseus, all remote turrets, except for the main guns, but the main guns don't need to be remote because they're slow moving. They're designed to hit sub-capital ships. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter if they're accurate. It matters if they land a shot, because those things are going to rip a ship apart. But Hercules, all remote turrets. So it's obvious that CIG is moving towards that because they realize the limitations of actually putting people in turrets. So the way that they could fix this is making those turrets broken. Give them the ability just to kind of cheat and just auto aim and hit things. Any thoughts if trade is going to be anywhere close to decent again soon? Probably. I would say probably towards the end of this year, because they're doing a big cargo refactor and stuff like that, which should be happening sometime at the end of this year, probably around CitizenCon. Thoughts on Merchantman being worked on for the entire year? Reckon it's going to come out at the end of the year? No, it's going to come out in 2021. I tested weapons in the Marines 20 years ago, and that would blow your mind if you saw it today. Yeah. There's lots of crazy shit that goes on. I mean, 9 feet equals 2.7432 meters. Yeah. I would say probably around 3 meters tall is the Titan suit. Hercules for carrying Titan armor would be good. Oh yeah. I mean, Titan armor, I'm anticipating what Titan armor is going to do, because it's got that, the cheetah leg, the reverse joint thing going on. I can't remember the name of the type of legs it is. It's not like human legs. It's like bent when it's moving, I'm imagining that it would probably compress down into a smaller package. You step into it, you activate it, and it steps up and stands up as you move it. Tonks exist to make Titan suits look good. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. 2022. It's a mithril. My brain's still in 2020 mode. It's May 2021, and my brain's still in 2020 mode. 3-jointed legs, yeah, like chicken legs or something. I can't remember. It's like digigrade versus plantigrade, I think is what it's called, something like that. Titan suit would probably be the closest we're going to get to an orbital drop. I would imagine that Titan suits would have some sort of limited thrusters on them, which would be cool. But we'll see, because it's supposed to be able to also operate in 0G. So, I think the argument for the animal, I think it's called digigrade tile style legs, has more to do with the fact that they want to make it look fast than they have to make it look good. Prepare for Titanfall. Yeah. They don't make that joke, I swear to God. Titan suit would be better than Anthem javelins. Yes, they're going to be bigger than javelins, but slightly different. Because the concept art we've seen is you stick your arms through and control 2 sticks, and you move your legs like you do, but the sticks will control the actual arms. So, actually, Warhammer 40K recently released a couple of models for the Sisters of Battle that have that style. That's essentially what they're doing. It's essentially that. Do you think anything big is going to be delayed from 314? I mean, that's the problem. I don't think so. I think the only thing that might be delayed is the inventory management. But even then, like, everything they've done has been shown off. I think at the very worst, mostly everything in 314 that we see so far will probably slip to a 314.1 patch rather than being slipped entirely. Now, 315 and 316, those are all up in the air in terms of getting killed. But if you look at 315 and 316, they're pretty conservative in terms of their estimates. 315 is fairly, It's somewhere between Power Armor and Diva's Mech. Yeah. All right, speaking of all of this, operator modes. So they've just kind of talked about this already on the latest ISC, but operator modes is how multiplayer gameplay is going to work. If you are a fighter pilot, you will no longer be able to use your missiles unless you switch modes. We currently have 3 operator modes. We have flight mode, we have mining mode, and we have scanning mode. If you notice today, you cannot scan while in flight mode. You cannot fight while in or target anything while in scanning mode. Similar things, that kind of thing. So we're going to add missile mode, which is going to be a separate mode. So you'll have to switch to missile mode, and then being able to lock missiles on target is going to be a lot more difficult now than just pushing a button and waiting for the tactical reticle to lock. There's going to be different stages of lock. Lock stage 1, lock stage 2, and lock stage 3. The longer you have your lock on target, the better the lock is going to be, which means the more accurate your missiles are going to be. However, it also means that you're not firing at your target because you have to use missile mode to do that. So essentially, it's like a aimed target mode, which means that if you have a Rio seat, like the Super Hornet, you can actually have your Rio gunner target missiles while you are firing with flight mode, which means that you can have much better, more accurate fire for that kind of stuff. So... switching the guns, yeah. Brain controls don't exist, not in use in the future? No. Well, no, it's because AI go crazy and kill things. I usually just compare a meter to just a couple of inches less than a yard, and we're zipping around the verse at 100 MPS, meters per second. That's 1,000 meters per second. Yeah. It's not as fast as you think, but I was much more impressed with 313 versus 313 now compared to the major update 312 to 313. Is that normal? You mean you're much more up? You're more impressed with 313.1 than you were with 313? You're more impressed with 312? It's not abnormal, but it is unusual. Are they going to buff missiles due to the increased difficulty in use? Possibly. I'd imagine that they'll probably do more damage. But they're also not going to act as normally as you can. You're just because you have a solid target doesn't mean the fighters can't avoid it. So I'm imagining that missiles will be really, really good if you could hit them. but it'll be a lot harder to hit with the missiles. They really need to give us HUD modes. Just too much going on with adding more compounding with the capacitors. That's Crown. That's what they're doing. That's what the operator modes are going to be. Flight mode is going to be one thing, and I'm imagining what they'll do. Even quantum mode is a separate mode as well. I'm imagining that what they'll eventually do is they'll have scan mode will change, or they'll have some sort of like travel mode versus just quantum mode. So you won't be able to see all these targets plop up in front of you unless you're in combat mode. It makes more sense to be able to switch between modes pretty quickly, because you hit a button and switch those modes. But there's going to be a lot of different modes. Hey, Citizen, thank you so much for that. 53 months. Hi, Paul. How you such cutie? How am I such a cutie? Because I'm a cutie. Because I'm fun as fuck. That's why Citizen. Do I think Homestead will actually come out this year? Yes, but I'll explain here in a second. Okay, ladies, don't forget to tickle YouTube algorithms with that thumbs up button. Might as well subscribe while you're at it. Yeah, we're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. I'm currently at 8,915 subscribers. So if you're watching this, and you enjoy this so far, like it, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell icon if you want to see when we go live, because that's another reason why I stream on YouTube, because, you hit that bell icon, it'll let you know that I'm live, so you can come ask your questions yourself. There's just so much. Yeah, there's so much. It's so cluttered. I think that's my biggest concern with CIG right now is the HUD mode is cluttered as fuck. Thank you, Jay Calvin, for that 32 months of subscription on YouTube or on Twitch. Here are free beers for parties in here. Oh, yeah, right. I should probably be doing that. Let's do some beers in here. What would have two variants of Titan Suit model, Titan Suit DS, which player in each arms? Yes! You just walk around with two players. Man, I like bullshit like that, though, so I'd love to see, like, two players with, like, machine guns, with, like, size 1 cannons. so you just... You walk around and your arms are just two players with size 1 cannons, just Gatlings just firing randomly in different possessions. It just sounds dumb. I love it. Hey, Miles, thank you so much. It's 53 months. Keep the train moving. Yeah, we're getting a hype train on Twitch here. It's pretty cool. Thank you, Sushi. With your content, you should be already around 1 million, in my opinion. Oh, thank you, man. Screw 10K subscribers. We're after 15K. Well, we're after 15 followers here on Twitch. We're at 12,997. So, hey, level 1 hype train. Thank you so much for them biddies there. Missouri. There's some beers for you. But yeah, so that's the mode. And so you're going to start having advantages for having multiple crew members, because those multiple crew members will do different things. Being able to access scan mode separately from the pilot will be helpful, because having a dedicated scanner, somebody who's watching the scopes, will be able to tell you targets longer ways away when you ping them, or to identify the targets while you're just focusing on flying. Oh, we got a Cutlet raid. Hey, what's up, Space Cutlet? We're just talking about your shit. Hey, Mason Cauldron, thank you so much for that Twitch Prime for three months, and Heroes for that 5 months. Been really enjoying the Lore Citizen podcast. Thank you for listening and watching too. I'm going to try to put that on what is it called? Can we get a follow command for Cutlet, by the way? Space Cutlet, fantastic streamer. That man is insane. He will do shit with this game that isn't supposed to happen. He is the definition of finding your own fun. He's a space pirate without the ability to pirate shit. So he just finds ways of doing it. He's broken into every ship that CIG figures he can't do. At this point, if there's not an NPC named after him, if there's not an NPC organization named after him, I'd be fucking insulted. Warhouse, thank you so much for gifting that space sub, that sub to Space Cutlet. Thinking about using a top turret on Kilo to use missile operator station. The turrets can't access those modes. That's the only problem. Unless you're using a turret like the what is it called? The Terrapin. The Terrapin probably could. And Yeah, the top turret on the Aquila doesn't actually work. It's just a scanning mode. How many subs change your name to the Anvil Bub? 100,000. I mean, joining the discussion. Nobody joined today? Join, what do you mean? For the first time in a year or two, I enjoy the flight control model. Do you think that the capacitor add-in will ruin it right now? No. So the capacitor model, as far as I understand, will basically prevent you from just holding down the trigger and firing. So it'll make you think about your shots. In actual aerial combat, if you're doing gunfighting, you probably have, 30 seconds of ammunition. You pull that trigger for 30 seconds, it's gone. You don't have any more. It's not Ace Combat. Real life isn't like Ace Combat, where you can just constantly spam bullets. As a result, fighter pilots have to really think about when they're using their guns, which is why today most fighter pilots rely on missiles, because they're a little bit more accurate and they're a little bit, they tend to have a lot of them in air-to-air combat. So in space, in order to do the similar thing, they're just using capacitors as a way to reduce that. So it's a way of making you think about your shots. And the longer you're able to, if you fire and miss too much, now you're defenseless. Now you have to wait for your capacitors to recharge so you're trying to have to play defensively while you're getting shot at. So it will give the advantage of the players who are more patient. Thank you, Mister, for that 5 gift subs. Woof. I also hope engine capacitors will drain instantly the moment you go above SCM. Yeah, something like that needs to happen. Where like you're essentially you're moving the power around the ship, so you don't have enough power to power everything on the ship. So if you're using on engines, then you're not going to have as much for everything else. So in World War II, Battle of Midway, an F4 Wildcats only had ammo for 18 seconds. Yeah, you're not dealing with infinite ammo. And the problem is with space and with Star Citizen, you want to have lots of ammo. If the average repeaters had 16 seconds of ammo on an Anvil Hornet, no one would use repeaters. But you still need to have that meaningful charge. The Gatlings won't use as much power, but Jesus Christ, Badger Boy, 10 gift subs. You guys are nuts. Let's just do this. Just do this. F-35 is designed to fire in bursts, not to waste. It's a mere 180 rounds, if I recall. It's only got 180 rounds. Damn. Normally, I like ballistic weapons anyway, so I'm used to short controlled bursts of fire. I like this. Yeah. Got a question regarding missions. Is there a way to avoid crime stats when doing the more lucrative personal missions? Not right now, but in the future there will be. The plan is that they have to change how the AI registers criminal status. Essentially right now, as long as they can see you, you're fucked. But in the future, they have to have the ability to radio it in. So there's going to be stages upon which the AI will report some of its more crimes. Gosh, Warhouse Bard for that 4 subs. You guys are insane. You guys are insanely good with this. TTK is way faster IRL fighters than Star Citizen, though. Yes, but we're not going to see TTK as much as Star Citizen. You're going to see TTD, time to disable, because the key with Star Citizen is ships are going to be tough enough that they won't explode, but they'll be weak enough that it'll be you'll be able to disable them pretty quickly. But destroying them will be a lot harder. Right now, it's just pool explode, but you know. Targetron, thanks for giving us subs. Jesus Christ. 99.99 subs, yes. I was talking about Twitch. I mean YouTube. I have 216 subs on Twitch. And it probably just hasn't updated yet. So my Retaliator will be useless. No, your Retaliator, you can only use your missiles with Retaliator anyways. You can still fly. You just won't be able to shoot. But the Retaliator uses its turrets anyways. There's also a dedicated station in the Retaliator for a torpedo operator. So you can also still focus on that as well. Do you think Ninetails destroyed all the Redeemers of Stanton and that's why they don't have... I love them. I must work for them if they hate all the Redeemers. Gosh, there's so many people gifting subs, and I'm at 223 subs. There we go. 'Cause I'm afraid of capacitors will make ballistics even better than they already are. No, I think ballistics. The key with capacitors is that it's going to make ballistics. You still need capacitors to run ballistics. You still need energy to run your guns. It's just less energy. So ballistics will be more useful, but as engagements become longer and as they become further distance, ballistics will start to become less of a. They'll become more of a short-term advantage rather than long-term. Having energy weapons will start becoming more valuable if you're going to be in a scrap for a long time. So if you're taking on multiple opponents for longer periods of time, or you're going on longer excursions as an escort or as a pirate, then having ballistics is a liability because you can run out. I think they will probably start reducing the ammo counts for some of these things to away from the 2,000 rounds or whatever they have right now. Paul, don't challenge me. Yes, if I get 100,000 subs, I will change my name to the Anvil Pub. By the end of the year. I'll say that. If I get 100,000 subs by the end of the year. Persistent inventory and weapon armored racks and missile operator mode are my big hopes for 3.14. Yes. Do you think we'll get more multi-stage missions having to find a wreck to go clear a cave and more than eliminate hostiles in space sounds fun? Probably not soon. Once the game gets more tuned, if you don't have a larger ship to rearm fighters or ballistics, you're going to want energy. Yeah, people don't realize that Pyro is like 4 times the size of Stanton, and it doesn't have any, if very little, stations for you to refuel and rearm. So you're going to be incredibly limited by range. First tasty with that 5 subs on Twitch. Oh god. Seriously, right now, the Ninetails capture ships or destroy all civilians. Right now, they tend to... I mean, I think in lore they capture ships, but they do kill people. I get a question. I don't know if you're still here there, Cutlet, but with the Ninetails lockdown coming up, will you be backing the Ninetails or the anti-Ninetails, the CDF in the fight? Because you can choose one either side. For the law. Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. I should thank you. Isn't Stanton also scaled down a lot right now? No, it's about the right scale it's supposed to be. But it's a small system compared to Pyro or even Earth. Earth is, or Sol. Sol's like 105 AU. Stanton is like 7 AU. So. I will be backing my wallet. Whoever pays you more is basically what you're saying. Because you know it's going to be a PvP and PvE missions. You will have that choice. You'll be able to choose either the Ninetails or the CDF. I imagine the Ninetails will probably be paying better. When Halo Gates, when they can, I think that's going to be the Montreal's team's job because they're the ones who are in charge of basically making Stanton good. Vote for anti. Or here's my problem. I can put that in a poll here on Twitch. Hold on. With the most forced interaction possible. So whoever you can most get with, interact with. Okay, yeah, we'll see. Poll. Question: which side are you on? Civilian Defense Force. I probably misspelled defense. No, that's right. And, or the Ninetails. Let's give this 5 minutes. Start poll. They're on Twitch. I started a poll. Tell me which side are you on? Which side are you going to fight? Honestly, if they give an option for choose, we all know what's going to happen. You're going to choose the Ninetails because you know that everyone else is going to choose the CDF because you want to kill people. Ninetails, a children's story about a lighthearted, playful side of pirating. I think Lockdown will be at Arc Corp of the rival Leo Tony Syndicate. Yeah, I mean, that's what I proposed in my video about that, but that's just a theory. In what I'd love to see is it happened all over the system. It's not just a lockdown of one station, but all of the systems. So now everyone's got to get involved in some way, shape, or form if you want to get somewhere. But that's a pipe dream. Third option, most profitable. My allegiance to the Republic, to democracy. Wait, will we have 10-minute quantum travels in a small system? Yeah, Weifel. Yeah. Now, in general, the thing that people have to understand is that Star Citizen, the systems in Star Citizen are kind of like, you should have a full loop. You shouldn't be leaving your star system very often. Leaving a planet in Star Citizen is kind of like leaving a system in Elite. When you leave the system, you're moving to another place where it gives you more options and so on and so forth. And leaving a system is like jumping across the universe. Most travel times are going to be between 10 and 20 minutes because usually if you're going through a system, you're going to go from jump point to jump point. So you're not going to really worry about jumping 10 minutes across an entire system. You're just going from to the nearest jump point. But if you want to stay in that system, you're going to have to deal about travel times within that system. So right now it's hard to explain because we only have Stanton, and so people are just jumping around Stanton. But if your mission takes you from, say, Terra to Sol, you're only going to care about the travel distance between the jump points, how to get from jump point to jump point, going through the jump point, and get to the other jump point, which is going to be faster than trying to, possibly even faster than going all the way across Stanton, just because of how things work. The one solar system, we never left, yes. There is a system that is 194 AU, but if you look at the jump points, both are near the center, so it's not that far. Exactly, yeah. So normal QT travel will be like, what, 2 hours? No, like I said, most normal QT travel will be between 10 and 20 minutes. It's just depends on the system you're working in. You're not going to be traveling across a system typically. Like how often do you leave Hurston or Crusader? I mean, unless you're going to be doing a mission that takes you across the system, that you also have to make sure it pays out well. Jump point to jump point are usually long too. They're spread out far across the system itself. It depends. I mean, we're not talking an hour-long jumps, though, between jump point to jump point. But we're definitely not talking 2 minutes. Question. Hey, Professor, any update on your Anvil lecture? God damn it. It's not a lecture. It's a full video, and I'm going to start working on it this week. I've been working on it. I have the script done, but then CIG went and released the freaking lore for the Gladiator. So I had to change all of the stuff I had written down because it was mostly educated guesses based off of other lore pieces that I could find, which was mostly right. But there's some more details that I want to put in there. So I'll do that, and then I'll record the audio probably this weekend, because on Sunday I won't be able to stream because Cam's getting her second COVID shot. And like in the middle of when I normally be streaming, so I'm not gonna be able to stream because second shot's always rough. So I'll probably spend that time editing and recording and editing that video together. I wouldn't expect the Anvil video to come out until Invictus, though. I'll probably drop the Anvil lore video the Anvil day of Invictus because I'm that basic bitch. Hey, Desolus. But I'm not going to be doing a lore tour of the floor of Anvil, though I probably will anyways. I'm trying not to leave one planet, but that's because it's a pain, not because I don't want to. Not because I don't want to. I mean, that's the kind of the idea. CIG doesn't want you to leave a planet unless you absolutely have to. And each planet will have its own ecosystem of missions. And if you're going to be leaving those planets, it's going to be a little bit different. Against NPC, Valk sometimes takes quite a bit of firepower after breaking the shields. Is this a me thing or something that they want to, especially with capacitors, making it taking longer to repeater bids? Probably, yes. So most of you said CDF. So out of the 21 votes. That's a clean ass style, yeah. Well, we did this for the IAE where we went to the floor of the IAE and I went through the kind of basic histories of the manufacturer and each of the ships that were on the floor. I'm basically doing that in more in depth with the Anvil video, so probably not do that. Going to warn you now, the second shot messed up my immune system, and I got serious nasal infection, so keep an eye out for that. Get the shot, though, people. Yeah, it's important. Cam is getting her second shot. She also has a history of like ear infections and sinus infections and stuff like that. So luckily, she's not working right now. She quit her last job, which was important. She just it wasn't working out for her. So, but luckily, we have enough money saved up so that she can leave. She can not work for a couple of weeks or a month or so. So it worked out that she doesn't have to work the next day. So. Just wait until another drop of Anvil concept in the lore article on Anvil Day, and you have to make another video. I will. I'll make another video on that concept. I will do that, but I won't do it the same day. I'll do it later. Even though many will go CDF, Ninetails is going to have all the experienced PvP players. Yeah, but I mean, here's my problem. Because it's going to be a big lore thing, not just lore thing, a big reputation thing. That's the important thing to remember, is that the events going forward will be reputation bombs. And by say bombs, I mean you pick a side, and whichever side you choose, you're going to fucking piss off the other side. And it's not going to be just one organization versus one organization. It's going to be all of the organizations in a system, or multiple organizations in a system, going to war with one another or causing conflict with one another. So if you back the Ninetails, you will have really good reputation for the Ninetails, but you're going to have a shit reputation with Crusader. So prepare to never be able to land in any place in Crusader, or anywhere in Stanton, really, except for Grimhex. However, they also work with the people who do all the smuggling missions, and I'm a smuggler, so down with the system. Has anyone had sinus infection problems? I highly recommend using Neti Pot. Yeah, we've used that in the past. It kind of works for her. I hope that later quantum travel will not be boring. I know that we'll look at the memes and stuff in QT and get angry if something would attack me in the middle of it and kill me. I mean, if it's too long, if quantum travel is too long, CIG will tune it. They've done that in the past. They'll continue to tune that. They just want to make sure that it's going to take some time. Like, I wouldn't expect you to be able to leave a system and go to another system, like maybe go through 4 systems without taking an hour, because CIG doesn't want you to go be trucking across a system like one gaming session would be you going from one system to the opposite system on the other end of the universe. Because they want that experience. They want that Euro Truck Sim experience. They want to make sure that it's a meaningful experience that you're making that trip, not just because you want to. Because it's going to be expensive for fuel, maintenance, for paying your crew, all that sort of thing. As far as I know, NTLD will repeat throughout the year. Possibly, yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly how that works, how it's going to work, but I'm definitely certain that it's going to maybe have multiple stages, if not continue to go through. Since I had COVID, I keep smelling cigarette smoke. My olfactory nerves were damaged. Get this exact scene, yeah. I wonder if we can finally stop having Ninetails attacking us. I mean, yeah. Cutlet, if you want to side with the CDF and just crush the Ninetails, I bet you that'll stop the Ninetails from attacking when they're all dead. All right, hear me out. New Drake ship, the Valkyrie-sized boarding drop ship with ray-shielded bays for dragonflies. They just got the ship-to-ship docking. So me and my mates whipped that up the other night. Thoughts, Dad? I like it. I'm a Drake cuck, though. I am absolutely simp. I simp for Drake like it's no business. Drake and Castak Arms, baby. Every day, all day. I ride or die with those things. In-game yogurt, you get more speed on higher distance than mechanics. I don't know what you mean by that. Amorph, as long as there are entertaining PvP with some sense of it mattering. I think that it doesn't matter as much side you can choose. Very excited, though. I sincerely hope that the participation reward is more than a forum patch this time around. You and me both, Morph. Still salt we didn't get another Xeno threat helmet. Yeah, it'd been cool. Even as a trophy. Like, maybe not even something you wear, but something you have. Like a piece, like a charred Xeno threat helmet that you could be like, yeah, killed Xeno threat. Gosh, do we have no moderators here? Let's do this. ! Follow @ Space Cutlet. Activate follow. Morphologist. Hey, Commissar. No excuses today. The Commissar is in a good mood. Thank you, Commissar. Right now, Quantum Travel is engaging gameplay as using a crypto key. Yeah, it's going to get more engaging because the thing about quantum travel is that you're also going to be doing things like maintenance, repair, or looking up the news in the systems you're going to or something else like that. By the way, how you doing, Paul? Long time no see. Yeah, it's good to see you, man. I'm doing all right. Stressed, but doing all right. Climbing back into doing video stuff. So. You have some issues with your monitor, Morph? I mean, they can stop attacking us finally if we side with them. Oh, yeah, because it's stupid you run CS5 missions and run missions for them, but they still attack you every time you random account. Oh, yeah, that works too. I imagine that if you have a higher reputation from them, they won't attack you. It sounds like a counterproductive on their part. That seems like a legacy thing, though. Like, I think by the time we have the Ninetails lockdown, reputation for Ninetails will be a thing. So. Wow, holy shit. $12,000 monitor. Or no, $1,200 monitor. Okay. That's still pretty expensive. Whew. And they're not available in Taiwan, so now frantically looking for a replacement in Taiwan. Oof. Ouch. Logistics would be gameplay. Yeah. Managing your equipment to see what's damaged and what's not. Swapping out subcomponents. Having backups. Like, a lot of people don't realize that right now it's like if you run a big ship, you have a shield generator or 2 shield generators. It will behoove you as a combat ship to have 4 shield generators. 2 inside the ship and 2 spares just laying around in your cargo bay or wherever you can put them, so that you can yank one out, you know, if it's damaged, put a replacement in, and then fix the damaged one. I wonder why they made the Ninetails so lame. I hope they'll make them cooler later with the names like Ninetails. They had so much potential and visually interesting group. They actually did I was going to try to pull up a concept art because I remember not too long ago them doing a full visual concept of Ninetails as an organization with like different clothing styles that they would wear and so on and so forth. But I don't remember where that was. It was in an ISC, I think. So, I mean, I definitely think that they're going to get more fleshed out. The Ninetails just suffer from the fact that they're an early group of an early NPC faction where they didn't have a lot of stuff. Like, for instance, the cool armor that everyone was cooing over, the one that had like the cowl and everything, that is the original Hurston Security armor set, because the concept of Hurston is it's neo-feudalism. It's like techno-feudalism is what I call it, where the Hurstons live in this giant tower, which is basically like a keep, like an old castle, and they're the royalty. They're the lords of the area, and all the peasants are the dirty people who are working for them are basically serfs. So the security guards walking through need to look like techno knights, and that's kind of what that armor is. It looks like techno knights, and they didn't get that armor in fast enough, so they used just regular old armor that was available. But that's kind of like what's going to change. Well, then, Space Cutlet says, I don't think MOM itself will change much. Noticing how I play myself, I don't really fire guns and missiles at the same target or TOW anyways. I launch missiles outside of guns range. That maybe is the case for you, but for dedicated missile ships, that might change things. Like a freelancer miss, the ability to have someone who's just solely dedicated to targeting missiles while somebody else is just targeting on guns. Especially as it seems like missile gameplay is changing a little bit, where the longer you have your on target, the more accurate the fire is going to be. Because right now missiles is just push a button, fire, and it's really what you're looking at is ranging rather than skill. They're trying to add a little bit more skill to that as well. And I think they're also going to be changing detonation ranges, but we'll see. Yeah, missile IFCS is probably going to change it, yeah. Hey, Angelo. Hey, Mr. Pub, what do you think of the idea of physical currency in Star Citizen? Something like Cyberpunk's 77's cred chips. They could be de facto money for criminals and cash-preferred businesses. The lore team is very much interested in having physical UEC. Having physical UEC chips of some kind, or like data, like USB sticks, as physical currency. But the gameplay team hasn't really caught up to them yet. You can see interviews with the lore team whenever it's brought up. Most of them are just like, and I forgot who it is, just one of them who's just like, here's the plan. And they're just throwing this out there in terms of what they want. But then he says, it's also not confirmed. So it sounds like they want to do something because it makes interesting gameplay. It gives illegal actions a little bit more interesting. So, like your Bitcoin wallet chits. Yeah. Bigger missiles can't fire in effective range. They'll have to make range closer there, in effective range guns. Well, that's the thing, Space Cutlet. The theory that I have is they won't arm. But you can still fire them. They just won't arm. So instead of firing a missile like an explosive warhead, you're firing a battering ram. So it will hit the target and just knock it apart. So it might do some damage, but mostly it's a way of kind of like a stun lock or like a stunning move where you can knock your opponent off course. So if you have a gunner and you have a pilot/gunner and you have a missile operator, the missile operator at close range could just be firing punches at you to try to knock you off your feet, so that you get knocked to the side, that your guns are off target, they can finish you off. Those sorts of things. But yeah, Andrew, bro, I like that idea. It makes more sense in terms of gameplay too. It's not just a lore thing, it's also gameplay. That way they don't accidentally blow up the plane that fired them. Yeah. We don't know if they have the ability to remote control missiles, but they do target. You do target with missile operator mode. All missiles have guidance systems. Now, what I just said of using missiles like battering rams is not confirmed whatsoever. I just like that idea. Because I used to do that with dumbfire missiles on the Delta. My tactic was to get in close with the missiles and fire the dumbfires as quickly as I could, because I would run out of them pretty quickly. But if I could get a couple of clean hits on them, the missiles used to just make you go boom, like you should really move your ship. And once the enemy was disoriented, yes, I don't have as many good guns as the player with the Hornet, but I have. If I can keep them off kilter, plus the explosives will do a little bit of damage, I can just go hard and just stab them in knife fighting range and either disable them or destroy them. That's what they used to happen in Arena Commander, the old days. So, well, my Aurora will be hit by size 9 missile, even unarmed, it'd probably explode. Your Aurora would, yeah. They could make kinetic missiles a thing. There was an IRL anti-tank missile that with no explosives at all, was depleted uranium rod with an engine and guidance onto it. Bunker busters too. Bunker busters were designed to penetrate into a ground and then explode once they hit the ground. My idea is to fly Polaris in before it's in game. I will unload an 890 jump, load an 890 jump with heralds with pilots, and they will simulate size 10 torpedoes. I was artillery rockets in the Marines. I understood rockets to be dumbfire and missiles to be guided. Yeah, that's basically how they work. But I mean, a missile is guided, a rocket's dumbfire, but you can still use like a guided missile as a battering ram, as a dumb missile instead of a explosive missile, or as a inert missile rather than a explosive missile. The current railgun shoots a solid object, no explosives at all. Yeah, that's a good example. Railgun technology, even modern railgun technology, which exists in real life. Look it up. There's some cool footage of it. Too bad they've gutted the funding and are refusing to build the damn ships. But they exist. Do you think we'll get howitzers in the ground for ground warfare? I'd like to think so, but we'll see. My big hope is I've always had this idea of Drake making a floating gun platform, essentially just four Dragonfly hover bikes, but like remove the pilot, have a cockpit, a pilot which just has like a cage over them for protection, and it's strapped to a giant howitzer. And you just essentially hover that to a target. You turn off the hovers. It hits the ground. You drop out some like locking mechanism to lock you to the ground. Fire your gun. Move up the locking mechanism. Turn on the hover and then scoot away. So it's a super light mobile artillery. Because I don't think you'll have howitzers in the sense of like static howitzers, but I could definitely see it as a vehicle. A tank is like a mobile howitzer. I think what he means is like indirect fire, like you're firing over the horizon sort of thing. Listen. Don't shit on it, okay? Gotta love me some basilisks. That was an idea I've had long ago that I'd like to see. Showing I approve. I still need to get. I ordered the Guardsman Field Manual when it came out, and it never shipped. So I'll see if I can get one. But you had to be British to 40K. Oh no. Ironically, about the 40K community, the 40K community in terms of the tabletop games is probably bigger in Australia and the United States than it is in Britain, because there are a lot more tournaments in the United States. Heck, one of the local big 40K stores in Austin, Dragon's Lair, runs monthly tournaments, which are live broadcasted on Twitch. Like, it's not just like some podunk little town. It's like one of the larger like tabletop wargaming like websites live broadcasts them on Twitch. So I got into 40K last summer when I completely lost my mind. Me and America. Yeah, same here. That's the reason why I have an entire guard army that I built over the summer, last summer. And now I have an orc army that I got to finish. I also have Marines, but the Marines are a long-term project. Carl might have left have one left on the manual. I'll ask him. Yeah. I think CIG said it was interested in guided indirect fire weapons, like having FPS laser targeting. Yeah. Odd question: do the UK and AU Warhammer use inches too? Yes, all of them use inches. The game is built in inches. The game was originally designed in the 1980s. So yeah, they use inches. It makes more. I think it would make more sense using centimeters. It's a little bit better range, in my opinion, but it all use inches. Yeah, Marines are always long term. Right now, orc. Wow, yeah. They won't come through, and he's not done yet, but because of green screen. But you can get to see him. This is mostly the base coat right now. I have to go through and add some more stuff to him, but this is one of my commandos. Been building some commandos out of Kitbash between Ludas and some boys that I had left over. So it's just, yeah, exactly. He's a commando, so purple works. 40K is cool. My old Eve vet buddies were mostly UK, so it skewed my. There's a lot of UK. Like, I would say that 40K, if you were born in between 1990 and 2010, and you were born in the UK, the chances of you, and you were a male, the chances of you having at least some 40K miniatures, or at least knowing somebody who played it or played it yourself, are fairly high. Pretty much everyone I know who is a geek or a nerd who plays video games knows of 40K, talks about it, would say, if you mention it, say, oh yeah, I had it when I was a kid. You know, that kind of thing. Because I had it when I was 14 as well, when it got big in the United States. So, the boys, yeah. Heck, my Star Citizen org is 40K based. I'm not a 40K fan myself, but a lot of members are obsessed with it. We're mostly US, AU, and New Zealand, and a few UK. Yeah. I'm looking for the new orcs as well. I'm gonna stab someone to get that Beast Snaggers box. I don't know. I saw 10% of USA kids played Magic. Yeah, that's not surprising. Also, fun fact, before we get back into the Star Citizen discussion, because I know people don't necessarily here for all this other stuff. Fun fact, I learned through this channel, through this actual broadcast, not this one, but previous office hours, that the U.S. military used to give free Magic the Gathering cards to, or Wizards of the Coast used to send free Magic the Gathering cards to troops overseas. So in the 1940s, you got packs of Marlboros. In the 1990s and 2000s, you got mana cards to tap. Yeah, there's a they full on were trying to addict, there's almost all of the vets I know who enjoy video games either have experience with or play Magic. So many people I know. I wanted to play 40K when I was young, but my parents thought it was devil worship. Oh, yeah. Oakley's wore them out, though. Yeah. $60 on Arena? Yeah. It can happen. Magic is one of those games that gets you in, gets you sucked in. Star Citizen, okay, but really here for the much cooler community. Thank you, Mr. Ben. Stopped playing Magic when they started dumbing down the phases. I don't know. I'm a big fan, bringing this back to Star Citizen as well. I'm always a big fan of making games easy to play, easy to pick up, but hard to master. Which is one of the reasons why I'm always for things like making things easier for your average player, making combat easier for your average player, making gameplay, being able to play the game more casually as just somebody who picks up the game and be like, cool, pretty spaceships. Because to me, that's important. Because once that person gets rocked like a hurricane in a PvP battle after they think they're good, they're either going to go, okay, I just don't want to participate in PvP, or they're going to go, I need to get better. And that's what you do. The first taste, like, oh, look, here you go, little Jimmy. Here's a little piece of chocolate. And then 20 years later, here, little Jimmy, here's an M60. Go murder them. That's the key. That's the key, I think, with building games these days. That's just my opinion in terms of game development, is make a game that's easy to pick up, hard to master. I invented so fun fact, I invented a tabletop card game for use in Star Citizen, and it was somewhat approved by the devs. The game is called Stellar, and it uses dice and a 52 pack of cards. Those cards represent specific, like face cards, if you remember, represented characters, and the each suit represented a different thing: attack, defense, dodge, and you would use a card that you got as an attack card, and then they'd have to either dodge or defend it with a similar suit with the same or higher number for that suit. And then you would roll dice if it was a tie for breaking up or something. I don't remember. I have the rules somewhere for Stellar somewhere, but it was for a lore builder competition. And during that lore builder competition, I submitted it. This was years ago, and they approved it. That was one of the ones they chose. So. Why not save on chocolate and give little Jimmy that M16 right away? Astropub the crack dealer. Listen, I'm just a smuggler. I'm not a smuggler. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm just meeting a need that the community needs. It's not my fault that what they need is Widow. Fletch card game. Cards Against Humanity compatible. Oh, nice. Yeah. I want to hustle people in Fizbin. Yeah. But there is an actual card game. I have a copy of it that was 100% approved by the devs, and they actually were thinking about putting it into the game, which was created by I forgot who. But it's 100% like there was an idea. Oh no, it was an idea that they had themselves for a card game that they would then develop into it. So there's actually an in-lore card game that has already been developed that the players developed in terms of the stuff. Can we please just get facial hair? Man. Ooh, Lord. Yes, please. Also, hair that doesn't look like ass. That's one thing that CAG seems to struggle with. They seem to be getting better in almost every aspect of the game. Even, stability. But hair is something they fucking suck at. Thank you for gifting that sub to Draki there, Danger Hobo. Kin Shadow made it. Okay, yeah. You have to get it printed yourself to make sure there's no copyright issues. Kin Shadow handed a bunch of them out at CitizenCon one year. But yeah, I forgot the name of it, though. Oh, you're talking about the Vandal versus Humanity. No, Kin Shadow also made the other official card game. Ass hair confirmed? I mean, maybe. That'd be a great idea. I call myself a gray trader. I don't care what you're selling me. Fell off the back of the truck as long as you don't care about selling a bunch of missiles and that's why I call myself a entrepreneur. I'm not gonna. I will sell things if there's a market for it. If it means selling legitimate food to a place like Ruin Station, sure. They want to buy food. I will go get food. Food isn't illegal. But if they pay me in drugs that I can go back to Stanton and sell. Profit. I'm serving the needs of the community. I miss the games they used to make with the concept sales, like that Vanguard game that was like 1942, Hyper Vanguard Force. So here's the thing about those games. Those games were made by the developers in their spare time. They were made by the developers as side projects that they built for Star Citizen. Hyper Vanguard Force, the Apollo one, those were all side projects. It means that if they're not doing that, it means that they're all focused on the game right now. So, are you Banu? No, but I love the Banu. Yeah, Star Traders. Yeah. That was made by David Ladyman. That's literally Star Citizen, the board game, because it's used the same basic rules they used for Star Citizen's trade economy for Quanta. The rules for Quanta that they originally used for it were built into Star Traders. I actually kickstarted it. I have a copy of it downstairs in my living room. Facial hair and scars, damn it. Yeah. They've said they've got Hair 2.0 up and working on their build, but for some reason they haven't brought it over yet. It's like Squadron 42, that's why. They won't bring it over until it's all in Squadron 42. Basically, Star Citizen gets the table scraps of Squadron when it's done. That's the reason why it's a little like that's one of my problems with like Salty Mike, and a lot of people like to say this, and I would argue with Salty Mike. Feel free to bring me on at some point if you want to for answer the call again. I always like being on, but this wouldn't be much of an argument. It would be like 5 minutes. Is that anything that's done for Squadron 42 is Star Citizen related, because anything they develop for Squadron 42 is going to be in Star Citizen in some way. The only difference is the cinematics, but the people who are doing the cinematics and those kind of in-game cutscenes are also working on Star Citizen cutscenes and cinematics. So But all the tech that goes into Squadron 42 is the same tech that goes into Star Citizen. They're the same game. They literally run off the same launcher. They're the same engine. The difference is that there are some bespoke elements, bespoke drink, bespoke elements in Squadron, which won't be in Star Citizen, like cutscenes and maybe some triggered events. That's about it, though. Black guy hair, you think? Afro style hair is not Afro, but like African style hair, and non-European style hair is something that a lot of game developers struggle with, and I'd like to see CIG kind of get better at that. Especially with people like Ticia. She's originally supposed to be like the hair tech, like that was her whole thing. Hopefully we'll see that. I don't know if you have answered this or not, but I was wondering if Montreal is making Stanton good, what is the rest of CIG doing? The ones that are making the original landing zones. A lot of them are making landing zones. They're working on Pyro. They're making Pyro and Nyx. And I think once Montreal's done with working on Stanton, building that out, then they'll be tasked with making the other stations, the other systems. So both for Star Citizen confirmed? Yes. They will. I mean, right now it's just in Squadron. I'm sure for like a cutscene or something like that. But I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up in Star Citizen. But you wouldn't be able to like buy it, I don't think. I think you'll be able to like rent something in some places. There's no place to put it currently. But there are straight up water zones, water planets in Star Citizen, so it makes sense. Hey, what up? Managed to make it this time. This gas shortage is killing. It's not a gas shortage. People are just panicking. Stop panicking. You're fine. Hair tech looks squared. Next too much. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think to sum up, as I've said in my reputation video, if you back the Ninetails, there will be repercussions in the Ninetails lockdown. There will be major repercussions that you're going to have to deal with. But you also should make a lot of money and have a lot of fun. But if you back the CDF, you will equally make money, but you probably won't be you just won't be able to go to Grimhex kind of thing. So just remember that your reputation especially will matter, especially when these things start happening. Hope we get lots of Squadron 42 at CitizenCon this year. A release date would be great. I mean, CIG has basically said that 6 months. It's something that I've said for a while because I used to be in marketing, but I didn't do advertising. But I know enough people in that field that generally saying it's about 6 months to a year. Depends on how much money you're willing to put on an activation, what the details are of that activation, how complicated the activation is. But generally speaking, you want to have time you want to hire a marketing firm, and you want to have that marketing firm be able to do research to figure out what's the demographic you're looking for, and if it fits the demographic you're looking at. And then you want to have an advertising firm that comes in, usually sometimes they're the same, and then build out an advertising plan. Who do you want to give the game to early? Do you want to go on certain shows? Where do you want to do the advertisements? Do you want to do a live action advertisement? All these sorts of different ideas to hit that demographic you're looking for. And then you want to roll that out over the course of however long you have. And it really depends on your budget. If your budget's big enough, you can roll out a marketing advertising campaign for a whole year. See things like GTA will do that, or Halo, or any of the big AAA releases. Call of Duty will do those sorts of things. But some games only have like enough money for about a month of a really big hype, and they try to push it as hard as they can, drop the game, and then move on to the next game. So CIG has pretty much said that they need 6 months. So when you start seeing them, when they make an announcement, they're 6 months away. When they make an announcement for release, they're 100% 6 months away. All I want from CitizenCon is 4.0. So server meshing, jump points, multiple systems, maybe completed subsumption tech, fully functional NPC behaviors. So not much, just the entire game. I think you'll get a jump point. You'll get pyro, more created pyro, but that won't be in the game. They'll show that off. I think jump points and 4.0 will come out in next year, summer, about this time next year, with a full subsumption in another system like Nyx in by the end of 2022, with possibly Squadron 42 in 2022. I mean, I think even last year I said probably 2022 for Squadron 42, so we'll see. My idea for CitizenCon with them to start a gameplay on screen, and then suddenly hundreds of people warp into the announce meshing. Yeah. Yeah, you're going to see a stage demo. We already saw the jump point tech in 2019. So they'll have another tech demo for that. Has stuff moving a lot quicker this year so far. I only started playing last year during Invictus, so I don't have a perspective. It's a lot faster than things are moving a lot faster than they normally do. The fact that they're putting in Crusader and Orison in 3.14, and they are dedicated to doing that, means that they've done some issues to the back end. Plus, they've already basically said that iCache, the beginnings of iCache, is being rolled out. Of course, it's not just iCache; it's iCache, Pcache, Super Pcache, all these other things. The persistent streaming tech is getting to roll out in 3.14. So, and that's one of the big milestones for things like Quanta being done, and also server meshing. So, CDF, Defense Force, assemble. Yes. What's the CDF song that we did, which is based off of the EDF song? The CDF fights on. Yes. I know I work at a gas station. These people are panicking and insane. Yeah, it's just stupid. It's stupid how much people are panicking about this. It's like they even turned the pipeline back on like tonight, and it's only on the East Coast. Like, there are people panicking down here in Texas, and it's like, why? We literally live on gas. World War II was fought because of Texas oil, all right? It's not like we've really slowed down production of oil since then. We have more gas than we know what to do with in Texas. Don't panic. God damn. What's Quanta, by the way? I've heard the term a lot, but I don't know. So, Quanta are individual data points. So, a janitor at Grimhex is a Quanta. And the quantum system is the system of various individual Quanta all doing their own actions. Essentially, it's the economy. It's the back-end economy. The way that it's supposed to work is if you didn't have a single player in the game ever, the background simulation should be able to run and have its own events, its own situations, give every location a supply and demand, give each individual NPC their own supply and demand, or their own desire, wants, and needs, and then let the simulation run in the background. Players, when you introduce players to this system, they can help affect that system, but the system itself is going to run whether players are there or not, which will then affect mission payouts. The current mission system, which is kind of a static mission system, is designed to go away. And eventually it'll be a dynamic mission system where missions will spawn depending on the needs of the Quanta. It's a complicated system that requires a lot of back-end support because Quanta really most likely won't be shown up on the game server. It's all done in the background server, but every so often that Quanta will show up in game and you'll be able to track them. So, What were the big AMA items you've gone over? Just join the stream. Oh, we talked about Grimhex. No, not Grimhex. Ninetails lockdown. Who the Ninetails were, what you should know about the Ninetails before the lockdown happens, and the operator modes. But you can ask any question. That's the purpose of this whole thing. So, Texans nerves are shut after the winter apocalypse. Yeah. I'm so phlegmy. I am too. How you doing, Buster? The name quantum system is probably chosen because of the entities the simulate are only visible when perceived by the player. Analogs to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Yeah, probably. That's nerdy enough. That makes sense. That checks out. Quanta would get dicked up if Texas to New Jersey pipeline got shut down. Yes. It's Jeff Day. I'm kind of sad. But all right. But all right other days. I'm sorry. I don't know what that means, but okay. Hey, it's Buster. Yeah. Texas tea, black gold. Yeah. What's this gas thing? So I'm so far out of the loop. Oh, so there's a pipeline somewhere that got hacked and got shut down because of a hacker. And so because it was shut down, no one could get, or gas couldn't flow. And the thing about it, gas, is that it's a delayed reaction. So if gas isn't flowing all the time, after a couple of days, most gas stations will run out of fuel. Because it takes like a week or two for most gas stations to run out of fuel, depending on usage and such. So they always have to be resupplied with tanker trucks. And so this pipeline, which was running gas from somewhere to New Jersey, I don't remember exactly where, was shut down. So almost all of the East Coast was without fresh supplies of gas, or most of its supplies of gas. So. Jeff was a professor of mine that passed away a few years ago. I'm sorry to hear that, Buster. I think you remember telling me about that. Every time I hear Quanta, I can think it's Fanta. Quanta. Don't you want a Quanta? Yes, we do. We do want Quanta. They paid random, though. Not good. They paid random. Defender our system, Stanton system from Xeno threat. Oh, yeah, defender system from Xeno threat attack. Yeah, this was one of those, yeah. Imagine having to tell people not to store gas in plastic bags. It's really dangerous. It's stupid. Gas isn't water, guys, and it's just dumb to do that in the first place. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, most U.S. traffic runs on gas, right? All U.S. traffic runs on gas. I mean, we have some diesel, but it's the same concept. We want a Quanta, yes. Well, I mean, diesel and electric, you know. And a lot of countries outside of the United States tend to have public transit, so like electric trains and such. The United States is unique in that most of our stuff doesn't run on rail, it runs on roads, so. Have a good night there, Jaybird. Thanks for hanging out. Yes, the fact that those people would be told not to put gas in plastic bags is worrisome because they also vote. Yes. Yes. But at the same time, that's not exactly common knowledge. I mean, it should be, but it's not. So in defense, if someone's panicking and they need to find some way of holding gas, plastic bags make sense. But there were at one point, I remember signs on those pumps that said, don't use like trash bags and such. So I work in pipelines and loading in terminals. I'm the guy that puts the chemicals in refined gas. Anyway, people are panicking for nothing. Oh, no, we were saying that. People are panicking for nothing. I live in Texas. Like, I can tell you, I know enough people who work in the oil and gas industry. People are panicking for literally nothing. It will cause the gas prices to raise a little bit over a small period of time, then go back to normal. Because if it increases demand a little bit, people will go, hey, money, foop, and increase supply. And then because you increase supply, the price is going to go back down again. Because there's too much supply and not enough demand. So the demand will wane off and they'll have excess, so they don't want to do that. So I've seen enough oil pipelines breaking over the years that I know that's kind of how that works. Especially, I used to live in California. The Alaska pipeline used to break all the fucking time. And that was always the issue. Is we'd have our gas prices raise a little bit, but that's about it. Texas is basically a giant highway, yeah. What's public transit? Something Boston barely has? Man, I will go on a rampage about how Texas needs public transit because we are big, flat, mostly flat area that would be perfect for railroads. I pulled out the old screenshots from our Xenothreat activity victory pub. A friend of mine hated them because I'm still rocking the Halloween bear helmet, holding protein bars. He hates the helmet so much. I love that. I love that thing. Quantum is bambucha. I don't know what that means. Quantum is bambucha. Oh, I get it. It's a Fanta reference. What I mean to say is that the pipeline paid the ransom encourages more hacks and may matter more, or they'll pay a freaking cybersecurity company to protect them better, or I know hackers think that they're very good, but when you make big, loud fucking noises like this, which impacts the entire country, you get a nice little beaming eyeballs from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, who have entire divisions devoted to this thing. Just like piracy in Star Citizen, going loud is stupid as absolute fuck. That money is going to be traced instantly. Those people are going to get arrested. Unless they live in some fuck off third world country that has absolutely no law enforcement whatsoever. And even then, we have Delta Team. Like, absolutely stupid to put your dick in to put your dick in the United States ass, because you're going to get it snapped off. No matter what your political opinion is, the one thing America is good at is overreacting. Yeah, that's probably 90% of all cybersecurity break-ins are just people being stupid and clicking stupid links. As a Tesla owner, I'm greatly amused by it all. You mean the dumb helmet that looks like balls? I hate it so much. America always overreacts to butt play. We don't take it very well. Well, CIA, since they're in Russia, yeah. I mean, if they are, we'll see. I didn't know you were a fellow Texan. They find that tiger back home. That tiger back home yet? Oh yeah, in Houston. I live in Austin, but yeah, I heard about that. I don't know how the fuck that happened, but no, they haven't yet. Not that I heard of. Still in the wild. Houston's wild, yo. What do you think about the arrival of the Bengal in Stanton? I think it's cool as fuck. I just wish my computer wouldn't run it at 5 FPS. I saw a bunch of people making videos of it at like 20 FPS though, so it might have just been that one day that I caught it. So hopefully it'll be better running than that stuff. I'm next door in LA. Okay. Y'all didn't know what was you're saying I wasn't, y'all didn't know that I was Texan? I mean, what does it say? I'm not following you? I don't know. They very quickly I find it interesting how much hacking there is. There really is just 90% human and human engineering, like 10% hacking. Yeah. Speaking of that, I'm interested in seeing hacking gameplay. That's another thing that's coming in 3.15, I think, is hacking. I will say y'all. I say y'all a lot. It's a very versatile word. They will have a schedule for when the ships be present for people to see. Yes, it's already out there. Let me bring it up. I'll bring up the schedule. Not for, they won't tell you what ships are available, but I'll definitely bring up the schedule. Let's go with so. So on May 21st, 22nd, we have RSI, Consolidated Outland, Argo, and Origin Jumpworks. Now, there has been a rumor for RSI. It fits out with everything that I've seen so far, that RSI is probably going to release something. And this is Invictus, where it's military-based, so it should be some kind of fighter. So that's May 21st and May 22nd. So remember, everything takes over the place of 2 days. So on May 21st, which is next Friday and next Saturday, and then May 23rd and 24th, so next Sunday and next Monday, then May 25th and 26th, next Tuesday and Wednesday, or whatever. It's further out than that, you know. And then it ends on May 31st and June 1st, which is usually all of these combined. So all of them get to go at once. Now the finale might also be the beginning of the Ninetails lockdown, but we'll see. Hacking, 85% social engineering, 14% scripting, 1% actual know-how. Yeah. When you live in Texas, y'all becomes natural to your speech. It's easier to speak. It's a nice gender neutral way of saying everybody. RSI Scorpio light bomber. Maybe. I don't know what the I know Leak says that it's going to be some sort of light fighter or bomber. We'll see. All I know is it's RSI. I still would like to see a heavy fighter in the vein of the Black Widow, but we'll see. I can't wait for my size gun with engines attached to it. Yeah, it's coming out in the Ares is coming out in 315 and 316. So. Perseus is what I want, and I will own all the ships I want. Yeah. I only work remotely at a Texas office, and I say y'all in Ohio. Y'all is a common phrase around the United States, especially in country or southern areas, but especially when people don't know the if people from outside the United States don't realize how much y'all is used. I don't think the East Coast and the West Coast tend to use it a lot, which is where most of our population is. So, have the leaks ever been right about anything? So, to be fair to the leaks, they tend to get some stuff right. Like for instance, the big one was The Rock, which is something I didn't think was going to happen. But also in fairness to the leaks, a lot of the information that leaks gives is already available if you looked into it. For instance, people knew The Rock was going to exist if you remember that there was a mining vehicle that was proposed at 2019 CitizenCon for people to vote on. That included a Devarin light fighter, a mining buggy, a Xi'an cargo vessel, and a refining ship. So of those concepts, we've already have two: the Talon and the Rock. So that it's one of those things that if you look at what CIG has proposed in the past, they tend to do those sorts of things. That's tend to be the case. I'm not discounting if they have sources or not. I don't know if it's true or not. They tend to they tend to have some legitimate stuff. They've shared stuff with me that they don't share with other people in the past, just so I could see it, because I've been like, I don't believe it, and they're like, hey, take a look at this. So it's like, oh yeah, I get that, but I'm still a little bit more skeptical on those things, because the problem is that CIG has lots of plans, but plans aren't action. Plans are plans. And CIG tends to change plans fairly quickly if something goes wrong. Yeah, that's gonna CIG. You leaked the bomber. Well, screw you. We'll change it to a mobile hospital. They can do that. They've done that kind of stuff in the past. Do you think there's a chance to pledge for a area before it comes out? You mean like a piece of land? Yeah, you can get a UEE land permit. It's $100, but that whole piece of land is going to only get you a specific area in UEE space, which isn't much. You won't be able to claim areas outside of it. Oh, Homestead. That was the other thing. There's a big question about Homesteads, and I kept forgetting to mention. I'm really happy they pushed that all PTU so it can work out the bugs. Fingers crossed. Yeah. I'm thinking refining as they did just get docking and presume you need to transfer the ore between the ships. Well, you also got to remember that they're working on physicalized cargo plus docking. Yeah. So you'd be able to remove the saddlebags would be a would be a step, which is like docking, and then physicalized cargo, having physicalized inventory in there is another thing. And the last thing is having tractor beams, which is something they're also working on. So those three things are being worked on. So it makes sense that it goes towards that. And refining is just an extension of gameplay. We already have refining in game, but it'd be more like player controlled refining. Homesteads. People are like, oh, do you think they're going to get homesteads? Homesteads are not player created homesteads. These are like outposts. They're just basically like outposts, but but slightly different. So don't come in thinking that homesteads means you're going to build out homesteads. It means there will be homesteads available for NPCs to live in, which means you're going to see homestead like towns or homesteads like ranches rather than seeing outposts like you see today. That's what the answer is. You think there's a chance for pledge for the Ares? Yes. Yes, there definitely will be. Probably during the Invictus. During the first day. No, third day. During Crusader. You'll be able to pledge for it then. For those of you who don't know how Invictus works, it works like the IAE. So every day is every 2 days is specific manufacturers. So RSI, Consolidated, and Argo, and Origin. These are all for military ships. So the Invictus is just military ships. So the military ships for these manufacturers will be available to test out on the ground, on the floor. So you go to the floor and you can rent them for 24 hours. But you can also buy them in the store, in the Star Citizen web store, while they're available. So, for instance, the RSI, like the Perseus, would probably be available. The Ursa will probably be available to purchase during this time period. The Ares will probably, no, the Consolidated. Consolidated Land is do they have any military ships? I don't think they do. Why are they there? Maybe the Delta. Probably the Delta. Argo has the SRV and the MPVU. By the way, MPVU, for those of you who don't know, I'm starting a chaos cult. Worshippers of chaos. The fifth or sixth chaos god is going to be the Argo MPVU. Cargo for the cargo throne. A cargo cult, if you will. And with this new religion that I'm forming, we're going to rig the best in show to make sure that the Argo MPVU is best in show. We're going to do this. I'm going to get as many people as possible. Apparently, it was attempted by Red Lear last year, and it failed. I will back Red Lear in his quest to do this in the future. MPUV, MPUV. Yeah. So much heresy. I'm going to do it. Anyways, and then Origin Jump Works, which just has its ground vehicles. Probably some of this stuff. So that's what you'll be able to purchase in the store. Aegis, pretty much everything Aegis except for the Reclaimer is military. So you'll be able to purchase all. That's why it's its own floor. Then Crusader has the Ares. Turnbull has the Nova and the Cyclone. And Misk has the Starfarer and the Freelancer Miss. And then Anvil, again, mostly military in the first place. Then we have Drake, which isn't military, but it has its own defense con thing, so it'll be able to sell all the Drake ships there. And then they have a finale. So MPVU Cargo Cult, yes. Will they make more than 15? Yes, they'll probably make 20 million, I guess. But we'll see. Oh, the Tana, yeah. A meme win. Use the 11 subs I give you to buy an Argo cargo. I will buy many Argo cargos. Does this cult wear pants? And if so, what type? No pants. There's no point in wearing pants. Charges plasma pistol intensifies. I should have talked about the chaos cult of the MPVU in front of the commissar. The MPVU, the reason why I wanted the MPVU to cargo for the cargo throne. The reason why I want the MPVU to win is because it is the backbone of the UEE in lore. It's a great little ship. It's going to be in Squadron 42. And it deserves love, okay? It deserves love. We're supposed to be wearing pants? I'm not even wearing pants right now. It's true. I'm not wearing any pants. MPVU Argue Rescue. That's one of the things I think is going to happen, yeah. 25 out of 26 Temporal plus Crusader. That's a big day. Yes, that's a big day. You've got the Ares. You've got the M2 Star Lifter. You've got the Nova Tonk. You've got all the Cyclone variants, and you've got the Starfarer and the Freelancer Miss. It's a huge day, and the Tana. Storming an area. Of course, I accept bird people. Cargo for the cargo throne. Are skirts okay? Yes, skirts are okay. Skirts are like no pants. They're not pants. MPVU is a square cube. Yes. Nobody told me this is a formal arrangement. Goes to get pants. Okay, 4 a.m. comes early. Yeah, we're gonna call it a night. We've been streaming for 2 hours, so I want to make sure that we got all the subjects done. We got all the questions answered. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, enjoying us. Again, let's see. Oh yeah, this guy's probably my favorite. I'll show this one more time. This guy's pretty cool because I haven't got his eyes yet. They have to be red, but the eyes are actually Imperial Guard binoculars. I cut them off and I put them on his face. So the handle needs to get done and stuff like this. And all this is a biker a biker grip that I cut the end off and then put one of the knives on there so we can make it a reverse knife. It's pretty cool. 2 more hours. Yeah, no. Anyways, I wanted to show that off as well before you do this. Oh yeah, there needs to be a top hatch. I mean, the CIG needs to make that. They need to make it a thing. A top hatch needs to be a thing. A top exit hatch needs to be a thing. Because there is a seat that goes to that top exit hatch. It should be able to raise up and then go out as well. Does it get extra paint if you paint it? Yeah, he gets extra speed if I paint his boots red for faster. Stay till the morning. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button if you're watching this on YouTube. Subscribe for us for more content, and make sure you hit that bell button to see us live when we do this. If you're watching this YouTube live, make sure that you do that as well. If you're watching this on Twitch, make sure that you are following us here on Twitch. We're trying to make our way to 15K followers on Twitch. On YouTube, we're trying to get that 10K mark, that big, shiny 10K. It's a nice round number there. We're working our way there. Yeah. And make sure if you're watching this on Twitch, go subscribe to us on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, go follow us on Twitch. Thank you so much. I will see you all tomorrow for more Star Citizen content. And until then, like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black. And remember, ex Historia ad Astra.